Hello, my confused friends. Welcome back to the Daily Eye Roll. I'm Muhammad Aslam, and I'm your host for the day. Well, what's the subject today? Balaclavas, you're probably thinking, why did he come up with that subject? You're even probably thinking, what's balaclavas got to do with a Daily Eye Roll? Anyway, let me kind of enlighten you over the next 5-10 minutes. First of all, let me just say this much. Balaclavas have been with us since time began. And I thought what we should do is actually have a chaotic conversation about this, where definitely there's no answers to the problem, but there are lots of questions to be asked. Now, is wearing a balaclava something that you would do? Well, let me explain to you. Nigat Khan, remember her? The first Muslim woman to be the leader of Nottingham City Council, the first hijabi woman to be the leader of the City Council, and also the first woman that said we're going to ban balaclavas in Nottingham. But anyway, let's get on with the task in hand. I think that's probably more appropriate. Banning balaclavas is not really a safety issue. It's more to do with control. They want to have a look, see where you're up to, where you are. Maybe get a few coppers to stop you on the street and say, oh, what's that on your face? And say, empty your pockets. Well, it's on my face, not in my pocket. I don't care, empty your pockets. And the thinking, I suppose, behind this is that an item of clothing, like a balaclava, the one that you got on your head, could be misused. Now you're asking the question, aren't you? Now you're saying, yeah, we've seen them in the banks and the bus stops, and on those bikes, they snatch the phone off you and off they go. But is it the balaclava that's causing the problem? Or is it not the person that's wearing it? So what do? Do you ban bicycles because they were riding one as they were snatching phones? Do you ban banks so that people can't go in and rob them? Yeah, this is Donald Trump's idea of COVID, remember, all those years ago when he said, if we don't do any testing, then we won't have a COVID problem. That's the kind of logic that's being applied here. So seriously, I mean, if you look at the problem, if criminals really wanted to hide their ID, wouldn't they become politicians? Seems sensible. Everybody else is a bloody politician. Sorry, excuse the word politician, didn't want to swear. But anyway, here we are, facing a dichotomy and not knowing exactly what we should be doing. So has the government overreached? We have some examples of how the Labour government, Keir Starmer, another esteemed leader, he's on his way out, by the way. Burnham's just got himself elected. He's on his way down to London. Number 10, here we come. Can't wait to get in. Try the chicken kebabs. Job done. Oh, sorry. Digesting, don't mean that. I mean digressing. The Labour Party has already overreached itself and forcing the police to support quite wicked and awful policies. Like, for example, they're restricting the right to protest. That age-old right where if you didn't like your neighbour's attitude, you could get all your family together outside their house, throw bricks through the windows and say, I'm a legitimate protester. They'll arrest you, of course, for throwing the bricks, but they won't arrest you for being a legitimate protester. They're increasing stop and search. Now, with the stop and search, what they're saying is that as long as they have a reason for suspicion, not suspicion, but somebody could be walking down the street and think, I feel suspicious about him. I don't know what he's doing, don't know where he's from, but let's have a chat. Or let's search his pockets, whatever the matter might be in hand. And then, of course, there's the weaponization of protest groups, direct action groups, Talk about overreaching. They banned the Palestinian Action Group, for God's sake. They made it into a terrorist group. It's just a bunch of teenagers who will probably grow up to be bankers. And they've just recently sentenced them to a considerable number of years because they broke into a factory. They broke into a factory that was making bombs and weapons to commit genocide. So here we are, facing the prospects of banning the Balaclava because the government thinks it will be safer by declaring war over winter clothing. Well, let's see what happens. I don't want to be walking around in my Speedos in the middle of winter, but, might happen. Let's see. So anyway, where does this stop? It's continuing on, and it's becoming a bit of a pain. Next, they'll be stopping using pencils. They'll ban the pencil. Yeah, you carry a pencil, mate, and you've had it. And only because they found somebody that was writing something very inconvenient for the authorities with a pencil. So they'll say, no more pencils, they're being misused. So it's back to the chalkboard, isn't it? Chalkboard in your lap, draw a picture, show it to your mate, he'll know what you mean. Yeah, exactly. I know. It's getting ridiculous. Keir Starmer never was a bright man. But anyway, here we go. I've got to stop going on about Keir Starmer, he's going soon, so I need to find somebody else to focus on. But anyway, that's beside the point. So why don't we start off with something a little bit more realistic? Why don't we ban hoodies? And while we're at it, why do we ban faces as well? Because people who create trouble in society, people like you, me, we have a face, this one. And we cause trouble. So if we want to stop trouble, ban the face. Ban the face. This one. Meanwhile, humans are trying to stay warm. They ride a motorbike. They cover their faces because they don't want to be vacuumed onto a CCTV database. This is all called policing by vibes. So what will happen, you'll be walking down the street and a policeman will come along and go, hello, you look suspicious. And you turn around and say, no, mate, I look cold. Where do we draw the line? The Balaclava ban does not stop crime. You must remember this. It's ridiculous. Everybody said, yeah, ban them. What are you going to do with the person that's wearing it? He's still going to be out there committing crime. He'll wear a handkerchief. He'll look like a bloody cowboy. Or he might stick his wife's stockings over his head. What are you going to do then? That's not balaclava, that's a stocking. It gives the authorities power over you. It can make them stop you because they think that we can police innocent people just for walking around. It gives them more power, more influence, and therefore more stops and more searches. This has become a theatre of security, except acting is really bad. So finally, let's be sure here. Let's pretend there's a threat to society and wearing knitted socks with eye holes is going to fix everything. Do you really think that that's going to happen? Why didn't you drop me a line? Or better still, why don't you subscribe to my channel? Leave a comment and I'll get back to you with some more thoughts. It's really good talking to you. Take care and I'll speak to you soon.